Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this horror DVD movie review video as part of my current series where I'm taking a look at random horror movies from my DVD collection, ones that I haven't seen before, somewhat related to summer. So today we're going to go ahead and travel down the horror road of road horror, road thriller, with what I consider to be a classic from the 80s, and that is from 1986, The Hitcher, which I have here on DVD. I love that cover, by the way, with the rearview mirror eyes, and it's just very good, very creative. But yeah, The Hitcher. This is a movie I saw probably about 20 years ago. I think I rented it when I was going through a phase of going to the video store when they still had them and renting movies, horror movies, other kind of movies. I remember seeing this and kind of being really enjoying it, and so I got this in the last year or so, and I was curious to see if I'd still enjoy it as much as I did, and I can honestly say I did. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So The Hitcher is a 1986 American road thriller film directed by Robert Harmon and written by Eric Red. It stars Hauer as the title character, a murderous hitchhiker who stalks a young motorist across the highways of West Texas. Jeffrey DeMunn and Jennifer Jason Leigh appear in supporting roles. So basically, the movie opens with Jim Hazley, a young man delivering a car from Chicago to San Diego. He spots a man hitchhiking in West Texas desert and gives him a ride. The hitchhiker, who calls himself John Ryder, forces Jim's leg down on the accelerator when they pass a stranded car. Ryder states that he murdered the driver and intends to do the same to Jim, threatening him with a switchblade. Terrified, Jim asks Ryder what he wants. He replies, I want you to stop me. When Jim realizes that Ryder's seatbelt is unbuckled and the passenger door is ajar, he shoves Ryder out of the moving car. Relieved, Jim continues on his journey. When he sees Ryder in the back of a family car, Jim tries to warn the occupants but has a minor accident. He comes across the family's blood soaked car and vomits. Ryder corners Jim but simply tosses him the keys from Jim's car. Ryder leaves with a trucker and nearly runs Jim down with the truck as it crashes into the pumps of a gas station. As Jim flees, Ryder causes the station to explode. So yeah, that's just the first half hour or less. But that's the setup and the premise for The Hitcher from 1986. As far as the cast goes, we have Rutger Hauer as John Ryder, C. Thomas Howell as Jim Hazley, Jeffrey DeMunn as Captain Estridge, Jennifer Jason Leigh as Nash, and John Jackson as Sergeant Starr. So yeah, that's to set up the premise and the cast for The Hitcher from 1986. I know they did a sequel to this like 17 years later, and I know they did a remake, which I actually have from 2007. I want to say I have yet to watch that, but I have never seen the sequel, which I believe has C. Thomas Howell in it as well, again reprising his role. Um, but what can I say about this movie? It's damn near flawless to me for what it is. It's a very simple premise that's executed to perfection. And I was shocked to see that. I mean, Siskel and Ebert, back when they did a review in 1986, they couldn't have hated this movie any more than they did. I don't know. I think they saw a different movie than I did, quite frankly. They definitely interpreted it different than I think it was meant to, and definitely different than I interpreted it. But anyway, let's just get into the pros because I have a lot of them. First of all, of course, you have to start you have to start with the performances by the two main leads here. I think C. Thomas Howell does a fantastic job as this young guy Jim Hazley, but really the movie is rises and falls and is made by Rutger Hauer, who plays John Ryder, the Hitcher. He is so immersed in this role; he's just fantastic. Both of them are totally believable. It feels very real. Um, they just add so much depth and intrigue to both of these main characters because of their portrayal. So that's the first thing that stands out is just the performances, particularly by those two. The setting of the movie is great. I really enjoy this vast Texas landscape and all the highways that lends itself to good car chase sequences, good suspenseful moments and horror. It just really works. There's something about highway horror that I really enjoy. It's definitely one of my top three or four sort of horror settings, if you will, or ideas. And I saw the movie Duel from the 70s, and that's a good one too. That's more of an action thriller, I would say. This is a little bit more horror. Um, but that was actually directed by Steven Spielberg. I have that movie as well. But I like this one a bit better, I think, especially from a horror standpoint. I just think that there's just more here. There's just so much depth to this movie. As I said, it's a very simple idea. You know, this guy that's delivering a car runs across a hitchhiker, picks him up, and then you get this cat and mouse game that goes from there, and it really carries the movie. But yeah, the setting is fantastic. The way the movie starts, it gets right into it without any exposition and build up. We're already white knuckling at 10 minutes into the movie, which is just very effective and a fun way for the movie to start to not have to wait, just to get right to it. And when you have a simple premise like this, that helps. The fact that the movie stays tense from start to finish, there's really no lulls or moments that drag in this movie. Even in slower moments when Jim is seems or thinks at least that he's away from the Hitcher, like when he's at the diner, when he's at a motel room, that you can just you feel tension right around the corner. You feel that the hits are somehow in the room. Um, so yeah, the whole movie just has that from start to finish. Just fantastic, very good in its own overall easy watch as a result. I really enjoyed the car chase sequences and action involved within the chases. This movie is kind of a trifold, I would say, of genres. You have sort of an action movie with the car chases. You have a thriller movie with the scenes of suspense and the atmosphere, and then you have a horror movie because of what's going on, especially to our main character here. Um, and side characters as well. So it kind of encompasses three different genres, and it does it all very well. But yeah, the car chase scenes are great. It added to the thrilling aspects of the movie as well. The best thing to me for this movie, though, is the cat and mouse game that goes on between these characters, where one thinks they have bettered the other one, but they both end up hanging tough and they don't go down easy, basically. And that's just a really fun, enjoyable, unfolding story and movie to watch. It would be in a book too, but in a movie, it plays out really well. And yeah, it's fantastic. This cat and mouse game. It almost has a level, these characters almost have a level of gratitude and respect towards each other as a result of the fact that neither one of them will go down easily, that they keep coming after the other. They're still standing kind of in a twisted way. There's a sense of like gratitude and respect, kind of like, you know, hats off to you kind of thing, which is really weird. But I think maybe that's where Siskel and Ebert was going into a little heavier than actually was there. But because they called it a perverted movie, basically, they thought there was some sort of gay subtext or some sort of relationship, sexual relationship between these two main characters. I didn't really feel that. I definitely feel that they played off of each other. And Jim Hazley's character definitely had an arc as a result of what he was going through. Where Rutger Hauer, I think he was just evil incarnate, but as a regular human being, not some supernatural entity or something. I just thought it was very interesting. So, but yeah, I definitely noticed that towards the end of the movie that they kind of rivaled each other, but they also had a little bit of gratitude. The character of John Ryder is really well written with a lot of evil, um, and not really any known motivations, which to me is the best horror movies can deliver. It's just like the original Halloween with Michael Myers. We don't know why he's doing what he's doing, and that's what makes it scary. And it's kind of the same in this movie. You know, you suspect that Rutger Hauer's character has done obviously killed people before, even at the beginning of this movie. And so you don't exactly know what was in his past or what caused him to become so twisted or so evil, but it's definitely there. But I think it's better left on Sid and not having exposition dumps in this movie like so many other movies do. I just think that makes for a very extremely effective horror movie. The character of Jim Hazley has a great arc in this movie where he starts out sort of searching for his place in the world and what he should be doing. And by the end, because of what he's put through, he knows what he has to do, and he has in a lot of ways, his character has changed from the beginning of this movie, and that's a very interesting character study to watch. Very enjoyable. Yeah, just very effective executed character development here. That makes for a much better movie experience. Them getting on, of course, to the kills, and the kills are very effective. Well, they don't show a lot, As a result, it allows the viewer to reach their own conclusions as to what they think they saw, what they think they heard, what they think they see, or what they didn't really see. And the prime example, of course, is when Nash is tied up and gagged between the truck and the trailer. And of course, John Ryder has his foot on the clutch, and as soon as it goes off, he's going to end up tearing her apart. And people to this day still think they actually see her get torn apart. But if you watch the movie, you actually don't. But because of the effective sound effect, because of the music that's going on, and just the suspense leading up to it between the two in the cab, that's what this movie does so well. It just allows the audience to visualize their own, or to believe their own deaths as they see them. um so yeah, like I said, the kills, while there aren't a lot of them on screen, they're very effective, I think, for this movie, the way that they do it. Just brilliant execution once again. I love the ending with the final showdown and resolution between these two determined characters as well. It felt very fitting that it would come down to these two. One of them wouldn't leave, the other one would, and that's basically what you get here. Yeah, just a great, and then it goes right to the ending credits, much like Duel did. Kind of an abrupt ending, some people might say, but very effective for this kind of movie. Um, Great cinematography in this movie. I love the wide shots that they use, especially with this setting, this highway landscape. It's so effective for this movie. It adds so much more. And then my final pros, if you haven't had enough already, I love the build up and tension of certain scenes. I mean, right from the beginning, when he basically tells Jim Halsey what he's gonna that he killed this other guy that picked him up, and he's going to do the same to him, and he puts the blade right up to his eye here and talks about how fast blood can squirt out of the eye from a human being. And yeah, it's just and a lot of scenes like that. There's a famous scene that's talked about at the diner when he's eating French fries. There's the motel room. There's just so many great scenes of suspense and tension. It's built up so well. So yeah, those are my pros for the Hitcher. In case you can't tell, I really like this movie. As far as cons go, I really had to search for them. I will say I would have liked a little bit more from the character of Nash, both in terms of knowing a bit more about the character and having her more in the movie. I think Jennifer Jason Leigh is one of the great underrated actresses, especially from the 80s and 90s. So having her in this movie even more would have been great. But just having a little bit more about her. We don't know that much about her other than she's sort of trying to find her way as well. That's just something that I thought of though as the movie ended. Also, this is something a little bit of a nitpick, but I'm going to go with it as a horror movie. It's kind of more of a horror thriller movie thing, but the depiction of immoral cops or dirty cops that are easily fooled and manipulated, we see this so often in these thriller and horror movies. And I understand a lot of it's to move the plot along, get the story along without the bad guy or the chase being stopped. But we see it so much in the movies, and it comes to the point where we kind of root for these cops, especially if they're dirty cops that are trying to have somebody do something that's going to cause them to shoot them, to get killed in some way or to get their comeuppance, if you will. So that's present in this movie. I could have done without it, but again, these are very small nitpicks. This is one of those movies I really had to search for cons because there just really aren't any. Um, it's just a fantastic road horror movie. I haven't seen all of the road horror movies, but this has definitely been my favorite over the last 20 years. It's hard to imagine one doing a better job. We'll see. I know there's Road Games, there's Car from the 70s. There's some other ones I have. Even what's the one? There's a horror anthology I have that has to do with road horror. I can't remember right at the moment. It just came out like 5, 6 years ago. But anyway, I'm gonna give the Hitcher. I'm gonna give this movie a 10 out of 10. Even those little nitpicks that I mentioned, that was more just to fill out this review. But honestly, I could put this movie on any time and enjoy the hell out of it. It's just a really fun. It's about 98 minutes, and it doesn't feel long at all because, like I said, they get right to it all the way to the end. It's nonstop action and it's suspense. So this is a 10 out of 10 road horror movie for me, The Hitcher from 1986. Go ahead and comment down below if you guys have seen The Hitcher, the original from 1986, not the sequel or the remake, which I'll have to check out at some point. But please comment down below what you think. Please like this video and hit the little notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews for this series. And please be sure to subscribe to my channel as well so you don't miss any of my great horror content that I pretty much have planned out the rest of 2023. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I'd highly recommend watching and actually buying the Hitcher from 1986. I don't remember what I paid for it, but I don't think it was I think it was around 10 or 12 bucks maybe on DVD. I don't even know if it's on Blu-ray. I might have to check that out at some point because this is one of those movies I could see upgrading. So, but I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you're enjoying this series and your summer's good, but stay scared. Bye.